Hello, this is the Convo guy here. I plan on discussing the Diddy situation. Ciroc is owned by a company called Diageo. In 2013, sometime in 2013, Diageo and Diddy decided to partner up to buy, market, and sell DeLeon. Everything was good until Diddy started feeling like Diageo wasn't holding their end on the bargain. He felt that they were misrepresenting DeLeon and Ciroc. I guess since he felt like he was black, they weren't giving enough funds to the brands that he was the face of. So he sued them May of last year, May 2023. He sued them because he felt like they were racist, that they weren't giving a certain amount of funds to the brands that he was a face of. He felt that they were limiting distribution to urban neighborhoods. And supposedly there was an inside scoop telling Diddy that within Diageo's management that they despised him because he was a rich black entrepreneur making a lot of money. So I'm pretty sure there's much more reasons, but due to those reasons that I just listed, Diddy felt the need to sue Diageo in May of 2023, even though he's been doing business with them for a good number of years. So he sues them, and this is the timeline that led to his downfall. He sues them in May of 2023, and everything that happens afterwards, a bunch of chaos due to them suing this giant liquor company that is based in London. So he sues them in May of 2023. After he sues them in November 16th, 2023, his ex-girlfriend Cassie sues him. But then the next day, exactly the next day, November 17th, 2023, they settled on a non-disclosed amount, but certain sources say it was 30 million that they settled. You would think that okay, Diddy's straight because he settled, but no, I really think Diageo was pulling the strings behind closed doors. In January 16th, I believe, of this year, 2024, Diddy and Diageo, they settled their lawsuit. I guess they patched things up. Diddy got paid a certain amount. It got much worse for Diddy. On January 16th, 2024, Diageo and Diddy settled their lawsuit. There's no telling how much Diageo paid Diddy, but you can tell it was obvious that Diddy didn't have to be a representative for DeLeon and Ciroc. On March 25th, 2024, that's when we heard the big news of the raid. So basically, Homeland Security agents raided his Miami, LA, and New York home, and that's when things took a turn for the worse. On May 17th, 2024, CNN released the video that we all saw where Diddy beat up Cassie at a hotel. I believe it was at the Intercontinental Hotel in downtown LA. It's funny though how the video was released because Diddy paid her a non-disclosed amount, even though sources say it was 30 million. He paid her 30 mil. They settled that, even though she sued him November 16th, 2023. But then CNN released the video. So that's how you know there were sources behind closed doors just pulling the strings, trying to make sure he was going to pay for something that he did that he had no business doing. And that's the clues indicating that it was the liquor giant company of Diageo doing all this to Diddy. On September 16th, 2024, he was arrested in New York, and at the moment, he's sitting in jail facing 120 allegations. So now that I gave an overview of Diddy's timeline that led to his downfall, I plan on discussing what I learned from this situation. Diddy's downfall started when he bit the hand that fed him. So Diageo was the company that was paying him for him to be on these liquor advertisement. So once he threatened them, that was the start of his downfall. Because when we think of Diddy, we don't think of him as a rapper. You know, even though he's in that music industry, we don't really think of him as a rapper. We think of him as an entrepreneur. We're used to seeing Diddy on liquor ads. So when he bit the hand that feeds him, that gives him millions annually, that's when his downfall started. You might as well state that this situation with Diddy wouldn't be introduced to the media if he would have never sued Diageo. To be honest, he would have been a scot-free man if he would have never sued this giant liquor company. Threatening and suing Diageo, that felt the need to put him in his place. They were like, okay, they felt that he went out of pocket, he went out of line. So to put him in his place and to make an example out of him so that the others that are representatives of Diageo don't do the same thing, they took Diddy and they're punishing him basically. And that's why I believe the Jay-Z's, the Beyoncé's, these close friends of Diddy, that's why I believe they're not saying anything, because right now Diddy has to take this punishment solo because he did something that was beyond out of line. So this situation made me realize that there's a difference between having wealth and status and having power. Diddy had wealth and status, but he didn't have power because the people that had power were the ones behind closed doors giving this man the money and that status. And the moment he threatened them was the moment that put him in his place and took away that wealth and took away that status. So this situation made me realize that just because you have wealth and status doesn't mean you have power. I think at some point 50 Cent was even asked about if he wanted to be the face of Ciroc, and he denied it. He denied the request. And now I know why. Because he knows the inner circle. He knows the people affiliated with Ciroc, DeLeon, Diageo. So he's like, you know what? If this happened to Diddy, I don't want those problems. Again, he's been shot 9 times. So he knows certain things to look out for. I think as a kid, I was always told, watch out for the people that you're around in your environment. And I think Diddy's ultimate fall was due to that. Of course, greed and lust, but this could have been avoided if he just put himself around a good setting, a good inner circle. 50, I noticed when this situation with Diddy came out, he was clowning Diddy. 50 Cent was constantly clowning Diddy. And I think I know why. Because in 50 Cent's head, he's like, you did it to yourself. And since you did it to yourself, you got to take the L. And then Diageo approach 50 Cent wanting him to be the face of Ciroc. 50's like, I don't want that. I'm good. I'm straight on my end. I'm already the face of certain liquor brands. I don't want those issues. So it really shows that certain things we're told as kids really apply to adulthood. To be honest, the people who have power are behind closed doors pulling the strings, really being the puppet masters. Diddy is just gonna have to take this situation to the chest because all those individuals who attended his Diddy parties are not gonna come through for him. They're not gonna support him because if they do, those people who truly have power are gonna come for those individuals, which is why I believe Diddy's friends are not gonna come through for him. Another lesson that I learned about this Diddy situation is that Diddy is being scapegoated. I'm not saying that to support Diddy because what he was doing to these people at his parties was absolutely wrong. but he's obviously being scapegoated in the sense that he's taking a L for the other individuals that were involved to escape. So basically, all these politicians, all these celebrities, all these musicians that were doing the same thing that he's doing are getting away scot free while Diddy has to take the loss. Diddy is being counted as the fall guy while all these individuals are gonna get away scot free. If you're gonna blame Diddy, you gotta blame the other individuals as well. So why is he single-handedly taking the penalty, taking the punishment, taking the consequences for something that the music industry, the entertainment industry, the film industry has been doing for years now? We all know what goes down in Hollywood. So why is he single-handedly taking the blame for something that these people of wealth and status have been notorious for doing? Again, I feel like Diddy had wealth and status, and the people that had power were going to be able to strip him of that wealth and status and make an example out of him. So it just really shows you how in those industries there's no loyalty. You could be ousted at any moment, even though you may feel like you're doing good. You're doing good. You may think you're doing good, even though the dirt that you're doing, you feel like you're upholding certain protocols, but those protocols you're doing, those procedures you're doing, could eventually lead you in trouble by the media. So it's a very eye-opening situation with what's happening to Diddy, because he was known to hosting these big time Hollywood parties. We all know how he was good friends with Meek Mill and Jay-Z, but with this situation happening, everyone's keeping their mouth shut because he's the scapegoat. He's the fall guy. He's the excuse for these other individuals to get away scot free. And there's a lot of individuals in these different aspects of the industry field that have to take an L, that have to take a bullet. But it's rare for someone of big time status, big time wealth to be the fall guy. The only other times I feel like someone like Diddy had to take a loss to cover up what these other individuals are doing as well would be Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein, and Jeffrey Epstein. So I feel like now Diddy is now included in those category of men. And those men probably felt that they were doing the same thing that Diddy was doing. Like, we know these big time people, we're doing good, we're doing dirt, but everyone else is doing dirt. So we're good in the eyes of everyone else in my inner circle. But those people of power, those people who truly have power, I feel like they hand selected these people and they were like, you know what? You haven't been producing enough. You haven't been making too much money for us. Or you said something and got out of pocket and out of line. So we feel the need to just push you out there and make an example out of you so that everyone else behaves and acts accordingly. So there are different reasons why this is happening to Diddy, but he definitely is including in that list that I gave. He became a Bill Cosby, an R. Kelly, a Harvey Weinstein, and a Jeffrey Epstein. So what is the theme that I'm trying to get across with this Diddy situation? I feel like there's multiple lessons and themes. Again, I stated that there's a difference between having wealth and status and power. Just because you have wealth and status don't mean you have power. Because obviously those people who have power did this to Diddy. And we would never know these individuals that are doing this to Diddy. Meaning all these individuals we see in the media don't really have wealth and status. Those individuals behind closed doors in the shadows, those puppet masters that are able to do this to these individuals that we feel like have wealth and status. This is happening to Diddy. and his net worth was close to $1 billion or about $1 billion. So if this is happening to someone who had a net worth of that level, imagine who else this could happen to. This could happen to Dwayne Johnson. This could happen to Leonardo DiCaprio. This could happen to Denzel Washington. This could happen to Jay-Z. This could happen to Beyonce. It could happen to Rihanna. It could happen to Justin Bieber. It could happen to anyone and everyone. So I feel like, personally, I feel like being famous is overrated because you could have all that wealth and status, all those women coming at you, but then something like this happens to you and everyone is fleeing. No one wants to be your friend. So even though what is happening to Diddy, we feel like, he did the worst of the worst, but look at it from his angles. Look at it from his viewpoint. Everyone was doing the same thing that he was doing. Everyone was doing the same thing. Drugging women, orgies, freak offs. Everyone. He didn't feel like he was doing anything wrong. And all of a sudden this happens and you got to take an L for what your friends and your close ones were doing. This is pretty messed up. I'm not standing up for him, but it just really shows you that being famous, having all that wealth and status is overrated, because I would rather be a regular guy than face what he's facing. So to conclude as a whole, I believe being famous is not worth it. Really know the people that are in your inner circle. Because I feel like Diddy is crying up in that cell, wishing that he never invited any of those people. It's heartbreaking. But that's the false reality of life. People that you trust, people that you know would not come to your defense. Even if you do something wrong, if someone really rocks with you, they will still come to your defense. Notice how nobody is even standing up for him. Nobody. Jay-Z, Beyonce, nobody. Which shows that life is really cruel when you're going through it. The best thing I would say for Diddy to do is for one of those officers to hand him a Bible and for him to get closer to the Lord, because I think this is the only situation that could save him. Because right now you're either looking at spending years in jail before your trial is concluded. It may not be until 2030. Look at Young Thug. Use him as an example. He's been sitting in jail for close to 3 years now as his trial is still proceeding. So think about, and Young Thug is not even on the level as Diddy. Now imagine Diddy. He may be sitting in jail for more than 10 years. As he's sitting in jail, this is a good time for him to reflect on life. Think about all the things that you've done. You've done a lot of dirt. Confess to your Lord and Savior about what you've done, so that if you perish like Jeffrey Epstein, you know where your soul lies. And that's it, folks.